There's quite a few years between these two modeling devices. How do they compare? Let's find out. So a little while ago, I was watching one of Tom Bukovac's videos where he was showcasing an older multi-effects unit called the Line 6 M9 that is something I didn't really know about before. It's a product that I wasn't aware of back in the day. And Tom holds it in pretty high esteem, along with a lot of his music biz peers. So it got me thinking about the generations of modeling technology, if you will. And I happen to have this old Boss FBM-1 pedal, which is supposed to be a pedal to, not an amp in a box, but a pedal that gives your amp the character of a 59 Bassman. It was a collaboration with Boss and ran for a couple of years, I think, before they went out of production. It's a neat pedal for gain and that sort of thing. It kind of has an interesting tone. But what I thought I would do is put it up against the 59 Bassman model in the Fractal environment in the AX8, which I happen to have. Yes, I know it's a couple of generations behind in terms of Fractal products, but it's what I got. So I'm going to configure it and set it up as close as I can, and then I'll run through a little bit of playing and we can compare the sounds and just see how different they are. I know it's not an apples to apples comparison here, and it's, you know, we're not trying to do anything super scientific, but I was just curious about the quality of, or how close we can get really with the Boss product, and compare it to, again, not a real 59 Bassman. I don't have one of those, but we've got a pretty decent model in the AX8 from Fractal. So anyway, let's get into it. Okay, here we are in the AX8 editor, and I'm going to show you kind of how I have the comparison set up. I'm going to be utilizing the effects loop in the AX8 here to bring the pedal in. But in input 1, the regular input has got this line here where in the Y position on the amp and cab block, I've got the 59 Bassman model, which they call the 59 bass guy. In scene 1, this is where we bring in the pedal. So the pedal is in the effects loop, and the amp is in the, and cab are in the X position now. And I'm using the Jazz 120 model, which is based off of the Roland Jazz Chorus 120 amp. So here I just wanted something that's, you know, kind of a basic clean palette, if you will, to put the pedal against. So we'll see how the pedal changes the tone of this particular Jazz 120 model. And yeah, so that's kind of how this is set up. The only other thing I'll mention about the amp setup is the target, if you will, what we're comparing the pedal to is, of course, based on the settings that I got from one of Leon Todd's videos, where he talks about setting up the Fender models as using this method called, I think, all sixes, where you set the input drive to 6, the bass and mids to 2 and 3 respectively, which multiply to 6, and then the treble at 6. So you get sort of a 6-6-6 configuration. And the master volume's about fairly high, not on full, but at 8. So this is kind of the sound we're shooting to replicate with the pedal, and we'll see if we can do it. We'll look at some playing examples right now. Riffs courtesy of Neil Young and Brian Adam here. here's some tones with a bit of gain added on with the drive block in the AX8, just using a tube screamer. Well, there you have it. The pedal sounded like a pedal versus the AX8, you know, a much more sophisticated model. But I think it did a decent job. It's, you know, a little bit weaker, of course, whereas the AX8 definitely sounded much more open. The AX8 sounded much more smooth, I found, and wide. It was an interesting experiment to see how these two devices compare against each other. And feel free to let me know in the comments what you think about it, and if you happen to have one of these pedals, chime in and tell me what you think about that, and whether or not you got some use out of it over the years. Hey, if you liked the video, please consider subscribing, and I'll catch you next time.